Okay. Hello, everyone. I honestly have never done a live before. So I wanted to come back on and give another update of our Unified Program Leadership Council at the South Dakota State Penitentiary. There was a lot to unpack. So I'm going to go based off of the agenda that we had today. And if you are new and you didn't watch the first meeting notes, this is a group of people incarcerated at the state penitentiary who have been identified to represent their group, whether it's faith-based, mental health, the programs that are there, either peer-led or volunteer-led. One person has been designated to represent that group. And the whole point of the Unified Council is to bring everyone together to be in the know-how and build better relationships amongst each other to support holistic initiatives that'll make the culture of the state penitentiary overall improve. And today, with the agenda, and as I shared last time, we have a full agenda. In the first meeting, we elected the chair, the vice chair, secretary. We also elected the Education and Literacy Committee chair, the Job Skills Training Committee chair, Faith and Mental Health Committee, and also Culture and Policy Committee. So all of those have co-chairs, so 2 people per committee. And the way it works is that committee can recruit others outside of our council to help support initiatives that that group is going to be working on, and then bring those reports to every meeting. So there is a standing section for a 5-minute update from each committee co-chair to gift us with the information of what they're working on, how people can get involved, dates of things, important information to know. And that was really what came from the first meeting, was just getting it started and who's going to be doing what, how to get involved, and just identifying the leaders amongst this group of leaders. There is, I believe, like 28 or 30 people in this committee, which also includes invites to DOC staff. So we have the mental health person, we have the person who's in charge of the school, and we have Pheasant Land Industries, which oversees a lot of the jobs that the people get to work for, and the gal who's in charge of it sits as a member as well to be able to share updates and provide feedback on what's going well and different policies she might think would help anyone who has a job. So she's on there. And then we have one outsider for a Toastmasters club. Toastmasters, if you don't know, it's in short term, it's just a way for you to practice being a better speaker. But for the guys and everyone in prison, I think it's an excellent way to practice how to represent yourself in a way that translates to a public entity that you might be speaking up for yourself, defending yourself. Like, you have a way to practice to articulate, to get your point across, to share in a way that's going to be receivable for the group that you're speaking to, and that's represented by an outside member. So where it is primarily people incarcerated in this group, it is nice to have a couple DOC and one outsider, including myself, to really help give a little bit more perspective when we kind of hit a wall. And I need a little bit of help, honestly. So today we did call to order, roll call, adoption of agenda, reading of our mission statement, and I have to read, we operate as a one-team philosophy, mutual respect, collaborative problem solving, zero tolerance for division. Together, we build a positive institutional environment that benefits all. This is where it got a little hairy. The next thing is bylaws review and amendments. So the first meeting, I proposed a set of bylaws. Any good governance model has bylaws. And if you haven't been on a council, this is just our working, living, breathing document that supports us in staying in good governance. Should anything go awry, it gives us a structure on how to handle it. And I would say for my first go at creating something like this, even though I have a background of being on boards, there was only 3 things that they really wanted to talk about. They just happened to be really hot topic things. So the first one that really brought out a lot of discussion that took majority of our time, when I say our time, like 40 minutes, was the discussion of member conduct and discipline. And all council members shall attend all scheduled meetings, show respect, complete assigned committee work, keep council business confidential when required, support a one-team philosophy, no division, no drama, model positive leadership for the broader facility population. And what was asked to amend was adding in that no one could be a part of or associate with security threat groups. What does that mean? That could mean any group identified by the DOC as being a problem, essentially, to put in layman terms. And the discussion that arose from that did get a little heated because some feel that if you even participate in handshakes with a member of a gang or someone you've associated with in your past, you are still demonstrating and perceived as a gang member. And what our leadership council doesn't want to do is be perceived as being accepting to any sort of person or entity that inflicts harm on others or oneself. So I'm going to make a long story short, but I'm going to tell you right now, I know that I'm going to have to really work on compartmentalizing my hats in that situation because the person who put that forward was the chair. So I wanted to be supportive of the chair and his beliefs on how this council should go, but also hearing out the general consensus was they didn't want to be punitive to someone who's had lived that life, to give them a chance to bridge out of that successfully and land somewhere like our council that is going to be welcoming and saying, we know that's not you anymore. You have an opportunity for growth. We welcome you with open arms, but here's how we conduct ourselves. So again, long story short, a lot of contesting views. However, no one became disrespectful in a way where they would talk over each other, interrupt each other. They stayed in accordance to what we set up in the beginning, that they will be called on. Everybody will have their chance to speak. And we were going to use that one team philosophy to stay on track, first and foremost, but also be mindful of the diverse perspectives. And at the end of it, I said that disagreements is healthy. That means we have all walks of life in this room. And it's going to be the only way that we're going to create real change is if we have a diverse walk of life and perspective in this room to be able to go out and touch more people on the outside of this room to have that one team philosophy inside the wall. So it was challenging for me to wear all the hats. I will say that. I called a friend afterwards who was in there and I was like, I struggled really balancing all the different dynamics in there. And she's like, you have good intent. So you did the best you could with what you have. And I did get a note from a gentleman. It's sitting over there. I don't want to go up and get it, but this is what it said. And it really humbled me that this is what he gave me at the end. And it says, how we stand with the broken says way more about us than how we sit with the privileged. And it said, thank you and Tamian for all you do. So shout out for that note because it got me through after I left. Beyond that, we all agreed that any member found to be using, distributing, or manufacturing any unauthorized substance shall be subject to a progressive discipline, meaning as soon as we learn about it, we're going to offer support. We're going to say, hey, We actually received a list of behavioral health programming. This was one of the action steps from the first committee action plans from our first meeting, was to get a list of what's available so they can distribute this to all their groups so people can really get the help that they deserve while they're there, know who to contact, have someone that can go with them or be a safe space for them to say, hey, I need help. Can you come with me? You know the lady that runs it because you're in that council. Help me go there. Or in this version, anybody who's in the committee and they see someone suffering, they now know and sit with the mental health person and they can go to them and be like, okay, these are the behaviors they're exhibiting. Out of this list, which one do you recommend? Can we help them? So that is huge. They all have access to this now and they're sharing it amongst their groups. And I have no doubt that this will reach far and wide and more people will seek help. Because as we know, there are some challenges and a lot of addiction going on in the prison. But to know that there's so many things available and now there's going to be more people in the know of what's available, that's a huge, huge win from today. So after that, we just a couple minimal things, getting the elections in there. So those are the bylaws. Deep breath. We made it through that. Celebrating that win for sure, because what this group talked about was really, really challenging things. And I'm very proud of them for getting through this. And I definitely had to go get a giant thing of coffee afterwards because I just felt all the energy that they were, locking in to stay respectful because that's what we agreed on. But I know there was a lot of growth that still needs to happen on them getting used to using their skills in this way. That's new for some of them, not everybody. Some have a little bit more leadership skills than other, but they did really well, believe me. The next thing that we went through is a good news report. So I crafted a schedule for any entity that's in this council and just randomly selected 2 entities to be able to share what's good. We want to know what's good. We have a lot of the negative that we have to go through, so let's celebrate the positive. And we had Toastmasters. So Angela Schaffelman, she shared some dates, positive things, breakthroughs, and then the library shared and things that he already is going to be helping with after giving his update is that he's going to bring a list of books that and offer out for anybody to write down the books that they want in the prison library, because there's people who have reached out to me and said, how can we help? And I said, we need more books. And so they're going to get a list put together. We're going to get it out to the community, and hopefully we can fill their library up with a bunch of good stuff for them to read. He said they got their computers back and they want to expand the law library. And the other thing that he was able to help with immediately was that a lot of the gentlemen have really bad penmanship, but that's how they are able to write, to speak for themselves or to write for any sort of plea deals that they're doing. And people can't read their stuff, or even a simple kite. A kite is a note that you send to an entity to get help in any way. So whether that's the mental health counselor, the faith-based person, the community outreach person, if they can't read your writing, they don't know where to find you. They don't know where to get your help. So the librarian is now going to be getting templates of just penmanship for people to start copying. And I'm left-handed, so sorry if that's confusing. But he came up with the idea immediately to support people who have chicken scratches and work on their writing. And that could literally save somebody's life, whether they're trying to reconnect with family, like I said, get something for parole done, write for mental health opportunities so they could get their programming going, whatever it is. How simple was that? So that good news report was so valuable. Next, we did our committee updates, and they were just mostly working on getting people recruited for their outside committees. But overall, like, they're making huge strides, and they have really big ideas and day-to-day ideas that are going to be really impactful. The Culture and Policy Committee had created a survey that I think is going to be incredibly helpful, because they're going to get a census of what's going on and where people are at. So they'll compile the highest level of education, current education goals, life skills that they think they need most, what barriers, what areas are you most interested in for interesting talents, cultural engagement, how much have you engaged in your culture, what motivates you to participate in programs, how connected to you do you feel in a community, what programs are you most likely are wanting to see expanded, leadership and peer support, are you interested in getting peer support or leading peer support, how safe do you feel in your housing unit overall, what's your biggest stressor. So it seems really simple, but this sort of data, to have this at our second meeting, is wow. So they'll be collecting these, and I have no doubt that I'll probably have help in compiling this and generating some sort of report to really steer our subcommittees on what they need to work on based off of these answers. So awesome. If all we did was this today, perfect. Really good progress. The next thing we worked on was, let's see. That was a lot. This is a long video. If you're still hanging in there, cool. Thank you. We still want to get important dates and reminders out to everybody, so everybody is well versed in upcoming opportunities to be sharing. And with that, we're going to have a revitalized newsletter. They used to have a newsletter in the 90s and before, and it started when the facility opened, but it stopped in the early 90s when the riots happened. So they quit sharing that information, and one of the gentlemen found a book of previous newsletters. So funny enough, the chair had already talked about building a newsletter, and his ideas directly coincided what previously existed. There's a couple things that we added in there that's going to make it more up to date and now, and share more accomplishments and day-to-day stuff and mental health stuff. But for the most part, I think that is going to be a huge success of what this group is going to do in sharing information and getting the newsletter out to the gentlemen so they know what's going on. And this group is going to be the important messengers of sharing the news, sharing updates, sharing the accomplishments of people, celebrating people, and opportunities to get people where they want to be, and overall uplifting, like I said, uplifting the culture to being the best it can be, just by self-management. We always say that, or always try to think that this group has to rely on everybody else, but they can truly change the culture amongst themselves, and they are. So very proud of today. I'm very proud of the chair. He battled a lot of inner things on feeling like things were going awry, and came back around with a positive attitude. And, like I said, healthy disagreements are essential, especially when we're starting a new group. But if anybody has feedback for me, or ideas or suggestions, like, I'm all ears. If you actually listen to this whole thing, like, thank you for caring. And I'm very, very blessed to be able to have the opportunity to work alongside some of the most kind, intelligent, passionate people that I've ever met. They make the volunteering and the days that are a little bit stressful all worth it. And I do feel like I'm healing a piece of me when I'm working with them. So for selfish reasons, I really do enjoy going there. Thank you for tuning in, and I'll give another update at our next meeting. Have a fantastic holidays, And everybody stay warm. Thank you.